Every day you are casting votes, not with ballots or ink, but with your behavior, with your thoughts, with your rituals, with the way you spend your mornings, with the decisions you make in the quiet hours when no one is watching. You are voting for a life, either the one you want or the one you're willing to settle for. You don't need to predict the future to see where you're heading. You just need to look at your habits, because your habits are not random. They are architects, building something brick by brick. The question is, what are they building for you? Look close. The future doesn't come rushing in like a flood. It creeps in like a whisper, one small choice at a time. You eat the junk food just once. You skip the workout just this morning. You spend the money just this weekend. You delay the dream just until Monday. But the future doesn't care about your excuses. It only listens to your patterns. Your habits are your vote, and the ballot is cast in secret, but the results, they're always public. You don't get what you want, you get what you work for. You don't become what you dream about at night, you become what you do every day. Mindset is the first vote you cast, because everything begins in the mind. Before you built your life, you built your thoughts. You rehearsed beliefs until they became real. You told yourself stories, and those stories became chains or wings. And the most dangerous thing about a story is that if you repeat it enough times, you'll start to live it even if it was never true to begin with. If your mind is tuned to scarcity, no amount of money will feel like enough. If your mind is set on fear, even safety will feel like risk. But if your mind is locked onto possibility, even the darkest night holds a sunrise. There are people walking this earth who are imprisoned by nothing more than old thoughts. And there are other scarred, bruised, wounded, who have rewritten their mind's story and now walk free. Not because life was easy, but because they refused to let hardship define them. Change your mind, and you change your vote. Belief is the second, not belief in the mystical, but belief in the practical. Belief that your actions matter, that your time is not cheap, that what you do today echoes into forever. You cannot outrun your beliefs. If you think you're unworthy, you will sabotage every success. If you think wealth is evil, you'll push it away the moment it comes near. If you believe people like you can't make it, you'll never even start. Not because it's true, but because belief is the thermostat of your behavior. It sets the temperature of your life. And no matter how hot your dreams burn, if your belief is cold, they will never catch fire. Every morning, look in the mirror and ask, what am I voting for today? Am I voting for power or for passivity? For clarity or confusion? For vision or distraction? Clarity is a vote. The world is filled with noise. Screens, opinions, algorithms that scream louder than your soul. If you don't protect your clarity, the world will decide for you what your life is about. And you'll wake up one day chasing someone else's version of success, wondering why it feels empty even when it looks full. Clarity doesn't mean you know all the answers. It means you know the question that drives you. It means you've taken the time to sit in silence and listen not to the world but to yourself. Who are you when there's nothing left to prove? What do you want so badly that it scares you to say it out loud? What dream have you buried because someone once laughed when you shared it? Clarity is not a luxury. It's a requirement. Because if you don't know where you're going, how will your habits know how to take you there? Vision is your declaration. It's the decision to see beyond your current reality, to look into the fog of uncertainty and say, I may not see the whole path, but I see enough to take the next step. You cannot build a life of significance while staring into the rearview mirror. Vision is forward-facing. It is rooted in faith, not just in what is, but in what could be. Your vision must become so real in your mind that it feels like betrayal to live anything less. You've got to see it when no one else does. Talk about it when others roll their eyes. Chase it when logic says walk away. There will be days you are misunderstood, days you look foolish, days you wonder if you're crazy for believing in something no one else can see. But that's the cost of leadership. That's the price of voting for a future that hasn't arrived yet. And what is vision without purpose? Purpose is not a slogan. It's not a tagline for your social media bio. Purpose is pain transformed. It is meaning forged in the fire of experience. It is when your deepest struggle becomes your greatest story. People without purpose are always tired, always drifting, because purpose fuels you. It doesn't drain you, it drives you. When you have purpose, discipline becomes possible. Discipline is a vote too. Discipline is not punishment. It's power. It's freedom disguised as structure. It's the daily decision to act according to your values instead of your moods. Anyone can act when they feel motivated, but discipline kicks in when motivation runs dry. Discipline says, I don't negotiate with my dreams. You want to rise? Then you must win the war within. The war against laziness, against excuses, against the seductive comfort of just this once. Discipline is setting the alarm even when the bed feels warm. It's saying no when everyone else says yes. It's showing up without applause, practicing in the shadows, honoring the process when the outcome is still a mystery. And once discipline opens the door, action walks through it. Action is a vote for momentum, a vote against paralysis. It is the muscle of success trained one rep at a time. The world doesn't reward intentions. It rewards results. Not because effort doesn't matter, but because effort without execution is just dreaming with your eyes open. Don't wait for the perfect plan. Start messy. Move quickly. Correct course later. Because the universe doesn't respond to hesitation, it responds to motion. A small step today is worth more than 1,000 perfect steps tomorrow. Action shrinks fear. It clarifies vision. It builds confidence not through theory, but through proof. Gratitude is your anchor. A daily vote for abundance. Because no matter how far you climb, if you lose gratitude, you will poison your own success. Gratitude is not a weakness. It is the muscle of strength. It trains your eyes to see gain instead of lack, to see lessons instead of losses. Gratitude makes you magnetic. It raises your frequency. It makes you trustworthy with more because it shows you can honor what you have. You cannot complain your way into a better life. You can only give thanks until you become the kind of person who attracts more to be thankful for. And in this world, where change is the only constant, adaptability is survival. The rigid break, the flexible rise. The world will change, plans will crumble, dreams will be delayed, but the adaptable are not shaken. They pivot, they evolve, they learn, they bend without breaking. Adaptability is the vote that says, I'm not here to control the wind, I'm here to adjust the sail. Life does not reward those who wish for easier storms. It rewards those who become better sailors. Resilience is when adaptability becomes personal. When you rise not because you were never knocked down, but because you refuse to stay there. Resilience is a vote for identity. It says, I am not my failure. I am not my past. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. Resilience isn't loud. It's not always seen. Sometimes it looks like getting out of bed. Sometimes it looks like trying again. Sometimes it looks like holding on when everything says let go. But every time you choose to rise, every time you choose to keep going, you cast a vote. Not just for the life you want, but for the person you're becoming. And finally learning. To learn is to live. To learn is to stay young, to stay hungry, to stay humble. To learn is to vote for expansion. The moment you think you've arrived, you've already started to fall. The most successful people are the most curious, the most open, the most teachable. They read. They reflect. They ask questions. They seek wisdom, not applause. Your growth is your responsibility. Not your parents, not your bosses, not society's. Yours. So vote wisely. Your habits are not just routines. They are statements, declarations. They are voting every day, every hour, every moment for the kind of future you will inhabit. If you don't like the trajectory, don't blame the future. Change your vote. Because the ballot is still open. And today, like every day, you get to choose. Who will you become? What kind of life will you build? What will your habits say about you when you're gone? The votes are being counted. Cast yours with intention. Your future is not written in stone. It's written in your calendar. It's written in how you start your mornings and how you end your nights. It's written in the conversations you entertain, the boundaries you uphold, the temptations you resist, the promises you keep to yourself when no one's watching. And if you're waiting for the world to vote for you, you're wasting precious time. Because the world does not hand out crowns. It watches. It waits. It responds to consistency, not potential. And potential, unused, is just a silent tragedy. So many live like life owes them something. That greatness is a birthright. That showing up once in a while is enough. But the ones who win, they show up like it's sacred. They understand that excellence is not a gift. It's a pattern. It's a rhythm. It's the echo of thousands of choices made with purpose, not convenience. You can't fake alignment. You can't pretend discipline. You can't shortcut transformation. The life you want deep down in your bonesis, demanding proof, not perfection, but proof. Proof that you're serious. Proof that you're consistent. Proof that you're done flirting with your dreams and finally ready to marry them. You've got to move different, think different, be different. Not just once, but every damn day, until the person you've been pretending to be steps aside and the real you walks in, the bold you, the focused you, the unshakable you. And don't get it twisted, this is not about hustle culture or wearing exhaustion like a badge. This is about alignment, integrity, energy matched with purpose, action fused with intention. It's about waking up and living like your life matters. Because it does. Each day you delay, you're giving your power to the illusion of comfort, to the trap of indecision. But comfort is the enemy of progress. It seduces you into staying small. It whispers, you're okay right here, while your soul is screaming, you were made for more. And deep down you know it. You've felt it in the quiet, in the moments between distractions, in the stillness when the noise dies down. That subtle ache, that sacred discomfort, that's your potential knocking. Not gently, but relentlessly. But the door won't open unless you move. The price of the life you want is the life you're willing to give up. The habits that make you feel safe but keep you stuck. The beliefs that feel familiar but block your progress. The environments that feel comfortable but shrink your ambition. You've got to let go of the version of you that's addicted to average. The one who justifies, rationalizes, postpones, blames. That version can't come with you. You don't need permission to start. You don't need a better childhood or a new city or a different economy. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need everybody to believe in you. You just need one moment of truth. One moment where you stop explaining and start executing. One moment where you decide the pain of staying the same is greater than the discomfort of growth. Because make no mistake, growth will cost you. It will cost you your laziness, your excuses, your fear, your entitlement, but it will return tenfold what it demands. You want wealth? Then build habits that attract it. You want love? Then build habits that reflect it. You want health, joy, purpose, peace? Then stop treating those as accidents and start treating them like outcomes. You are not unlucky. You are undisciplined. You are not stuck. You are uninformed. You are not too late. You are too distracted. And the moment you understand that, everything changes. You were not made to live on autopilot. You were made to live awake, with eyes wide open, with a heart on fire, with the kind of clarity that makes you unstoppable. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Because at the end of your life, the mirror won't lie. You will face yourself. Not the stories, not the excuses, just the raw truth of who you became. And in that moment, when everything else fades, you'll remember it was never the big wins. It was never the luck or the breakthrough or the one shot that changed everything. It was the habits, the early mornings, the hard conversations, the reps when you were tired, the focus when it was inconvenient, the relentless daily vote for the future you believed in before anyone else saw it. That is the legacy. That is the victory. That is the life that waits on the other side of your discipline. So cast your vote, and cast it like your future depends on it, because it does. Your habits are the fingerprints of your destiny. And destiny does not respond to your words, it responds to your patterns, to the rituals you choose when the world goes quiet, to the priorities you enforce when no one is clapping, to the standard you hold not, when things are easy, but when they are brutal. Some people pray for miracles, others train for them. You were not meant to live at half capacity. You were not born to survive Monday through Friday and call it a life. You were not designed for mediocrity. And yet mediocrity is exactly what you'll get if you keep voting for comfort over courage. Courage is not loud. Courage is showing up again after you failed publicly. It's sending the message, making the call, applying one more time, daring to look foolish again. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's refusing to let fear be your compass. Every act of courage is a vote that says, I am no longer willing to be less than I was born to be. But understand this, you will not be rescued. There is no savior coming. No external force will change your life for you. The mentor can guide you. The book can inspire you. The strategy can teach you. But only you can move your feet. Only you can lift the weight. Only you can wake up early, study longer, train harder, dig deeper. Success is self-made. Not because no one helps, but because no one can substitute your discipline. No one can outwork your laziness for you. No one can override your inner dialogue. That is your responsibility. That is your domain. That is your throne, and no one else is allowed to sit on it. Own it. Every moment you spend distracted is a moment your future is slipping through your fingers. Every time you hit snooze, scroll endlessly, binge thoughtlessly, complain aimlessly, you are casting votes. Votes for a smaller life. Votes for regret. And regret is the heaviest weight a person can carry. It doesn't show up all at once. It arrives in pieces small and sharp. It shows up in the missed opportunities, the strained relationships, the wasted years, the dreams unlived. But here's the good news. Regret is preventable. Every decision, no matter how small, is a brick. Lay them with intention, and you'll build a cathedral. Lay them carelessly, and you'll build a prison. This is not about perfection. You will fall, you will slip, you will make poor choices. But the question is, will you stay there? Or will you rise with more awareness, more fire, more commitment? Because the greats, they don't win because they never fail. They win because failure becomes data. Pain becomes purpose. Setbacks become strategy. And each time they rise, they vote again. For excellence, for truth, for mastery, for meaning. Ask yourself, what do my habits say I believe about my future? That I'm destined for greatness, sir? That I'm just trying to get by? That I'm worthy of abundance, sir? That I'm just surviving scarcity? Your habits are honest. They don't lie. They will tell you what you really believe. Not what you say, but what you do. They are the most honest form of identity you'll ever encounter. So craft them like a sculptor. Be relentless about what you allow into your routine. Protect your time like it's sacred, because it is. Audit your environment. Audit your consumption. Audit your conversations. If it doesn't serve the future you're building, it doesn't belong in your present. You cannot afford to be casual about your future. The stakes are too high. Because here's the truth. Your future is not waiting patiently. It's being built with or without your participation. You're either leading the construction or you're letting default patterns do it for you. One leads to freedom. The other leads to frustration. And the world is already full of frustrated people. People who traded long-term joy for short-term comfort. People who gave up their power one excuse at a time. People who said tomorrow until it became never. But that doesn't have to be your story. You can rise today. You can change the vote. You can choose habits that declare, I will not waste this life. You can choose habits that wake you up at 5 a.m. because your dream matters. You can choose habits that build wealth not just financially, but emotionally, spiritually, relationally. You can choose habits that make you proud not just when you win, but every time you look in the mirror and say, I'm showing up. And when you start stacking those habits, day after day, week after week, month after month, you'll look around one day and realize you didn't just change your life. You became someone entirely new. Because this isn't just about changing your results. This is about changing your identity. Identity is the root. Habits are the branches. Results are the fruit. You cannot grow apples from a tree rooted in doubt. You cannot produce greatness from a soil poisoned with shame. You must go deeper. You must rebuild from the inside out. Every time you follow through on a habit, you are proving to yourself who you are, not who you were told to be, not who you used to be, but who you choose to become. You are not lazy. You are unaligned. You are not broken. You are undisciplined. You are not unworthy. You are untrained. But all of that can change. The man who wakes up early and trains his body in the dark before the sun rises, he's not just building muscle, he's voting for a strong identity. The woman who opens her laptop every morning and writes a page of her book before checking her phone, she's not just building a book. She's voting for the identity of a creator. And that vote counts. Every time you say no to the old version of you, every time you walk past the distraction, past the drama, past the self-sabotage, you cast another vote for the person you're becoming. And eventually the scales tip. The evidence piles up. The world sees what you've known all along. You were never average. You were just uncommitted. You were never unworthy. You were just undisciplined. And now you're dangerous. Because a person with aligned habits, a clear mind, a solid vision, and daily proof, that person becomes unstoppable. They don't need motivation. They have momentum. They don't wait to feel good to do what matters. They do what matters, and that's why they feel good. They don't need applause. They don't need validation. They are living in integrity with who they said they would become, and that's the loudest statement of all. So, burn the list of goals if you must. Forget the dreams for a moment. Strip it down. Ask yourself, what does the future I want require of me today? What choices do I need to make? Over and over until they become part of my blood. What old habits need to die so that something new can live? And then make the decision. Make it with your feet. Make it with your hands. Make it with your calendar. Vote for the life that sets your soul on fire. Because that life is waiting for you not in the clouds, not in your fantasies, not someday. It's waiting for you inside your next decision. Inside the habit you repeat tomorrow morning. Inside the discipline you refuse to abandon when it gets hard. And the moment you align your habits with your highest identity, you won't need to chase success anymore. It will come to you, not because you begged for it, but because you became someone who belongs in the room where it lives. Then listen closely, because this is where everything changes. The moment you stop asking, what can I get? And start asking, who can I become? You break free. The world trains you to seek rewards. It teaches you to chase praise, to count followers, to collect trophies. But the real game is not about accumulation. It's about ascension. Who are you becoming? Because if you become the person who never breaks their word, not even to themselves, you'll never lack confidence again. If you become the person who moves in silence but builds with power, you won't need attention. Your results will introduce you. If you become the person who honors the small disciplines, who protects their morning like sacred ground, who treats their purpose like a covenant, then the world won't have to open doors for you. You will walk through them. Understand this. Identity is not something you find. It's something you forge. In the fire of discomfort. In the repetition of hard choices. In the silence of daily effort. And this forging, it requires friction. You will feel resistance. That is proof you're moving. That is proof you're changing. Resistance is the tax you pay for progress. Pay it gladly, because there is something beautiful on the other side of resistance. Clarity, strength, freedom. But most people stop too soon. They want the results without the pressure. They want the glow without the grind. You must be different. You must fall in love with the process, with the monotony, with the reps, with the structure that feels invisible but shapes everything. Because when your habits become sacred, your results become inevitable. Discipline creates freedom. Boundaries birth breakthroughs. Systems set you free. You want to write a book? Write 500 words a day, every day without fail. That's a habit. You want financial independence? Track every dollar. Invest consistently. Delay gratification. That's a habit. You want a legendary body? Eat with intention. Move with purpose. Sleep like your life depends on it, because it does. That's a habit. The future does not belong to the talented. It belongs to the consistent. And consistency is not something you're born with. It's something you train, one habit at a time. So if the life you want feels far away, stop staring at the mountain. Look at your feet. What are you doing today? What are you refusing to do today? Because both are votes. Every yes you give is a no to something else. And every no you protect is space reclaimed for greatness. Your calendar is your character in disguise. So start treating it that way. Build rituals so strong that they pull you through the hard days. Systems so powerful that they carry your progress when your motivation is gone. Because motivation will leave you, but your habits will stay. They will shape you in the dark. They will mold your mind in silence. They will transform you when no one is watching. And that is where true power is born. Do not underestimate the power of the mundane. Do not overlook the miracle in the ordinary. Because greatness is not built in grand moment. It's built in small ones, multiplied over time, executed without excuse. So vote again tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that, until your identity has been rewritten in the ink of your own decisions. Because once you understand that your future is shaped not by intensity, but by consistency, everything shifts. Intensity gets the credit, consistency gets the results. Anyone can be intense for a day. Anyone can crush a workout, read for 2 hours, or eat clean for a day. But the future you want is not built in a day. It is built every day. Success does not respond to one-off inspiration. It responds to sustained obedience, to quiet, relentless follow-through, to the habit of showing up, especially when the mood to do so has long passed. That's the part no one sees. The late nights when you're still working after everyone else has quit. The early mornings when you rise in darkness with nothing but vision in your chest and conviction in your breath. The weekends when you say no to comfort and yes to discipline, Nino, because it's fun, but because it's necessary. The hard conversations with yourself when the mirror tells you the truth, that you're slipping, that you're capable of more, that you owe your future more than your present behavior is delivering. These are the votes that count the most. The private ones. The ones cast when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when no one is even asking. Because success is not democratic. It doesn't count every vote equally. It weighs them. And the heaviest votes are the ones cast in silence, in discipline, in integrity. Do you want to know who you'll become? Don't ask your dreams. Look at your defaults. How do you act when you're tired? What do you reach for when you're stressed? Where do you go when life feels hard? That's your real life. Not your highlight reel, not your affirmations, not your someday plans, but your default patterns. They're speaking loudly, even if you refuse to listen. So train your defaults, sharpen them, rewire them with repetition. Because mastery is not magic. Mastery is muscle memory. And muscle memory is built through brutal, beautiful consistency. You must become the kind of person whose baseline is uncommon. Not because you're better, but because you've trained longer. You've suffered with purpose. You've endured what others escaped. And you've done it not for applause, but because mediocrity started to feel like betrayal. Yes, betrayal. Because when you know you're made for more, average is not just unsatisfying, it's soul-destroying. Your future deserves more than your convenience. It deserves your commitment. So lock in. Make your habits holy. Make your decisions non-negotiable. Make your time sacred. Treat your life like a kingdom under construction. Every thought is a blueprint. Every action is a brick. Every day is a vote. And every vote is declaring, I will not die with my greatness still inside me. You have work to do. Votes to cast. A life to build that feels like truth when you wake up, and peace when you lay down. And this is just the beginning. Then we continue, because you're not here for surface. You're here for substance. You're here because some part of you knows that you were not born to merely exist. You were born to build something so solid, so sacred, that your name becomes a legacy, not just a label. But legacy is not built in the spotlight. It is carved in the shadows. Every habit, every repetition, every silent vote you cast in the dark, those are the chisels shaping your future. And the most powerful lives are not the loudest, they're the most aligned. Alignment is when your habits match your vision, when your actions reflect your values, when your daily behavior doesn't betray your future self. Because that's what's at stake. Here, not just success, but self-respect. You can fool others. You can impress them with talk, with style, with a curated life of likes and filters, but you can't fool yourself. You know if you're putting in the work. You know if your habits are casting votes for your dream or secretly sabotaging it. And that quiet self-betrayal, it erodes your power from the inside out. Because the most dangerous lie is not the one you tell the world. It's the one you whisper to yourself. The one that says, this doesn't matter. It's just one day off. No one will know, but you will know. And that knowing will sit in your soul like a stone. You'll carry it. You'll feel it in your posture, in your energy, in your voice. But the reverse is also true. When you keep your promises to yourself, when you cast those silent votes of integrity, your confidence compounds. Your posture changes. Your eyes change. You walk into rooms differently, not with arrogance, but with certainty. A quiet power. A deep inner trust that says, I don't need to prove myself, I've already proven it in the dark. Because your habits either weaken your belief or weaponize it. You want unstoppable confidence? Stack undeniable evidence. Evidence that you train when it's raining, that you